Hey everyone, welcome to God Conversations with Gladys. And I hope that you had a blessed week. No matter how busy your week was, I hope that you found time to rest. I'm not going to bore you with my week, but it was hectic. But hey, we got to do what we have to do, right? So I wanted to have a conversation today with you guys on the power of worship, on how I discovered the power of worship. What I thought worship was not it was that wasn't it. Okay, that wasn't it. For years, I just thought that worship was about the music. It was about fast, slow. It was about, and it wasn't up until maybe 5 years ago that God began to kind of put it in my mind. You got to keep attention. I remember the Holy Spirit saying to me, you have to pay attention to the words in the music. You have to pay attention. And I also remember that we had in my choir, my group at that time, we had a director, and there was a heated argument one night about people walking out of choir practice because they didn't like the song, and they didn't like the song because it didn't move them a certain way. It didn't dance, they didn't. And I remember in my mind saying, it's not about the rhythm of the song. What is the song saying to you? It was at that time that worship began to really evolve for me, where I knew, okay, worship has to draw me into the presence of God, right? Yes, I'm dancing, I'm jumping, but what is the word saying to me? What is the word? The words, the lyrics are what are supposed to be drawing me. It's not if I come into the presence of God and I just dance and I go back the same way, the words haven't made sense to me, or I haven't allowed them to make sense to me, I haven't allowed them to minister to me, then what are we talking about, right? Also, at that point of worship starting to evolve for me was when I began to also discover, when I use a song, when I do a song, I lead a song, if that song hasn't ministered to me, then what am I coming and I'm giving to the people who are listening to me? So it was more for me, it was more, okay, you can't give what you don't have. So the songs are helping me experience God in a different way. The lyrics, whether the thing, depending on the thing, whether the thing is God's rest, whether the theme is God's peace, whether it's God's healing, I have to have experienced God's peace to be able to tell you that there is rest in God. I have to have experienced God in my midnight hour. And I have experienced God in so many different midnight hours. I'll tell you one. When it was time for us to come here, I remember being married like less than a year. In fact, before we got married. So my husband won the green card. And so jubilation, blah, blah, blah. Now, he's a writer. So we're thinking, okay, by the time we come, we're going to be okay, right? We're going to get the money to get all these things together, go to the embassy. But guess what? Everyone who owed him money for jobs, everything dried up. We didn't have nothing. We were almost losing. The green card was going to expire. But there was just something I remember doing. It was worship that kept me going, because I just kept thinking, well, God, you're not going to, it was almost like me feeling like, okay, so God, you just made me smell America, but I will never get there. Like you won't give me something that's going to, you won't give me something and then take it back, or I'm not going to lose something that you gave to me out of my own lack of knowledge or how things are supposed to be done. So what ended up happening was, I know one of the prayers I kept praying, it was difficult to pray because it was like, oh my God, am I going to lose this thing? But I remember very vividly that worship was my go-to. It was my go-to. And at that time, worship hadn't even evolved for me. I was a worship leader, so I did what I knew best. So, but worship was just the worship, just staying in worship. And listen, midnight hour. That was my midnight hour. The day off. The money that we needed to complete, to go to the embassy, to do everything that we needed to do, that morning, everything came together. what I know about worship now is not even, I didn't know a quarter of it then. That's years ago. Years ago. So I say that to say there is power in your worship. There is power in your worship. So again now, what is worship? Like I said before, up until 5 years ago, if you had asked me what is worship, I would have said, we sing, we come before God and all that. But that's not worship. And again, I would have said, oh, it's your everyday lifestyle. Okay, what does that mean? Because I have shouted that out. Someone asked me one time, what is worship? Oh, it's your everyday lifestyle. What exactly does that mean? What does it mean? Your everyday lifestyle. What does it mean? In the last 5 years, worship has evolved to me to the point now, my own definition of worship, yes, it's your lifestyle, but it's your everyday walk. It's your coming and your going. It's your sleeping and your waking. It's your eating, it's your drinking, it's how you deal with your neighbor, it's how you treat your friend, it's how you treat your neighbor, whether they're voting red or blue. It's how you treat your neighbor, whether they are Christians or Muslims or Buddhists or atheists. It's all of that. All of that is involved. Something else that I discovered about the power of worship is the understanding that I do nothing by myself. I do nothing in and of myself. So I'll explain. Every decision, right? Every decision that I ever have to make, whether it's a thought and they all start, right? They all start with thoughts. I don't know what my hair is doing its own thing today. Anyway, every thought that I have had that ends up becoming, a desire, ends up becoming something I want to pursue. Knowing the power of worship, it makes me bring it, like kind of present it before Him and say, God bless it. So what I'm saying in essence is I never make a move without a release. I don't make a move without a release, because in the past, when I have thought something, I thought that would be good to do, and I've jumped at it, there's been grief. There's been grief in I work more, I work extra. But being able to come to the point where I say, okay, this thing I'm beginning to feel this way, but I'm going to table it before God, and I'm going to say, okay, God, this is what I have. I want you to bless it. And once He blesses it, here is the proof that He's blessing it, for me at least. People begin to come into my circle that I need for that particular thing. Do you understand? And all of this again is making sure that you have a relationship with the Lord. And I'm not talking about I wake up in the morning and I pray and I read my Bible and everything is routine. When you have a relationship with someone, it's ongoing. It's on a daily basis. It's on a daily basis. So I digress. Now, when I first decided that I was going to start do the first concert. First, there was a lot of things that happened that just made that, and it was God had to push some people to push me. And once that decision was concrete, the first thing that I said was, I don't even know where to start. I have no idea where to start. So, God, if this is something that I can do, then you're going to have to bring people into my circle that are going to help me. And I was very specific about what I wanted. And one of the things was I want someone who sees the vision. Because it's not about just talking. It's not about, we want to have a concert. We just want to show up. It wasn't it for me. As a matter of fact, I wanted a very intimate thing. I wanted something where it was a few people, but God then began to bring people, and by themselves they were dividing the work, their own functions, and I didn't have to do anything. I only had to show up and practically sing. That's all I did. But that was my prayer. That was my understanding with the Lord. If you say it's time for me to do this, then you're gonna have to bring what I need to me. That's another journey for another day. But that's also the power of knowing God through worship. It was what I wanted to do, but I had no idea how. And it was just God bringing everything kind of aligned. So another thing that worship does is it will align you. God will align your desires with His, and they will mesh to the point where you will not need to struggle. You will not need to struggle. What you need will come. It will align you with the correct type of people that will make what you need happen.